All right, here we are live once again. Back to discuss NFL divisional round. 8 teams remain. We saw 6 teams or 6 games last weekend. A lot of crazy stuff happening. We did not have the greatest record. I need to pull up the correct doc. This is from 2 weeks ago. So I don't know what your thoughts on the playoffs were, as we're joined by Rat once again, taking the spot of Cam. Couldn't be here due to unknown difficulties. I don't know what happened with him, but so basically last week we had someone's feedback is okay. Now I'm not talking. Now it's bad. I don't know. We'll have to hopefully it's not as bad for the viewers. Anyways, last week you don't hear it.
I
Okay.
don't hear anything either.
Maybe it's just my headphones. So last week, Mikey was the leader of the pack at a whopping 3-3 record. Cam 2-4 with the spreads, and I was 1-5 on my spreads last week. So really a bad week overall for the boys. So Rat, maybe you can come in and surge in some confidence, give us some good picks.
I love this week.
All right. I actually do too. Yeah. I kind of see like things playing out. So overall, records on the year: Michael 111, 104, and 2. We mentioned before how you might be dropping to below 50%, but
right.
There's only, I think you actually might be in the clear because I don't think there's just enough games left for you to be 500 or below. So congrats on clinching 50%, but you're down to 52%. I'm at 149, 125, and 4 for 54%. And
now these picks are these all the picks, or are these your like made up picks that can be like?
No, these are the spread.
Money line. Oh, okay. Wow, you guys are good. You guys are doing well. Wow.
We're all about 50%. Cam was actually at 60%, but after this week, he drops to 132, 91, and 3 for 59%. So bad week for the boys, but we're still about 50%. Rat, I will say, you actually have a chance to redeem yourself. So you're 4-8-1 was the previous record of the week you were on. So if you go 4 for 4, you finish 500. And then our friend Mark, who is supposedly joining us later, is 9-7 for 56% in his 1 week. So before we get into the game by game, I want to go over some off-season topics. You know, these podcasts probably won't be as long as the usual because we have less games to talk about. And also we want to keep up with what's going on in the NFL offseason. So first thing we have is the New England Patriots have a new head coach. And Rat, I'd love to kick this to you because we haven't heard your thoughts at all on A, Gerard Mayo firing, B, now Mike Vrabel is the head coach of the New England Patriots. So take the floor.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I saw Robert Gronkowski talking about this on one of his little shows, and he was like, "It's tough to fire the man after it's his rookie year coaching. He's 3-12 or whatever, and then he wins at the worst time to win." I think he knew he was getting fired. I don't know. I never really had faith in him, but it is kind of tough to fire him. I'm fired up for Vrabel. I think Vrabel. I really don't remember what happened to him. Like he was with the Titans, they got the 1 seed. And then something else happened, and then he's just a super far down coach in the Browns. I don't know what happened with him at all, but I'm hyped to have Vrabel. I don't know. I don't keep up on this offseason stuff very well. Everyone's talking about how they don't want, what's his name, McDaniels, and I agree with that.
Me too.
I want something fun and new. I think Drake May's got a lot of potential. He could be a Josh Allen type character.
Congrats to Drake May. Just proposed last night. He's to be engaged to his girlfriend in 10 years. That's good for the Patriots.
Good for him.
Everyone, it was funny because they were calling him out on Foger and Maz saying that he wasn't there for Vrabel's introductory press conference. Like he doesn't like Vrabel. He was proposing to his girlfriend in a nice beach. But anyways, I like the Vrabel hire as well. I think you need an established coach in there, especially when the culture has gone downhill since like that 1 year Mac had in the playoffs. I agree with you. We need some new blood offensive coordinator. I believe the defensive coordinator will be gone as well. Covington, who knows though. Besides that, I mean, yeah, I'm for it. We got him early. Like we're the first team off the board. No other team has even hired a coach yet. So he's in the system now, getting ready, getting his guys. He already took a guy from the Giants front office, which I don't know if I like that, but it's this guy from Tennessee. So we'll take it. Michael, do you have any thoughts as a divisional rival on this hire for the Patriots? Or does this make you nervous, or do you not really care?
I don't really care. I think in general, we're going to see a lot more established coaches get hired this offseason than new head coaches. I feel like the past couple of years, we've had a lot of like offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators get hired as first-time head coaches, and a lot of them haven't panned out. So I think teams are going to go back to hiring like established coaches, people who have been head coaches before. But yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts on Vrabel before we head to the next topic?
I think this is the fastest I've ever seen a coach get hired. I was at that game, and it's a 45-minute drive home from the game, and before I got home,
that was absurd.
Or I guess Mayo was already fired.
The firing was absurdly
fast.
I
feel like a lot of teams are waiting for the Lions guys because they're still in the playoffs. And Buffalo
and Ben.
Head coach, man, or
Joe Brady, yeah.
And then also like Matt Nagy too. I've seen a little buzz about him maybe getting a head coaching gig again because he got fired like 4 years ago from the Browns.
It's been a while. Yeah, he kind of went back to the Chiefs. Yeah,
learned a few things, maybe.
Second, I think I've heard. I don't know if I can testify to it, but it seems like coaches on their second turn people have a lot of faith in that. So we'll see if that holds up with Vrabel. To go back to what you said earlier, Rad, I think it was just a difference with ownership is why he got fired. Kind of like he had the owner's a woman there, and I think she didn't like that he was like at the Patriots game doing a ceremony because he like retired his jersey. I think that was a big point of conflict, and I think he wants full control. Like I think there's been stories about Elliott Wolf, what his role will be with the Patriots moving forward. I don't know if he's going to be like the de facto GM. I don't know how that's all going to shake out, but I think it was kind of just like a power struggle between him and the owner. It wasn't like performance or anything. That's kind of why he was pushed out the door there. So let's move into our next topic. Speaking of owner versus coach, we have the Dallas Cowboys job comes open a week later than Black Monday. His contract expired on Tuesday, I believe it was. He has interviews scheduled with the Saints and the Bears. I believe he already interviewed with the Bears, but the bigger topic is who's going to be the next coach of this Dallas Cowboys team where they don't really switch coaches a lot. Like Garrett was there probably for too long. I forget who they had before him, but I mean, they get a long leash there. So Mike McCarthy's out the door. Do you like this move by the Cowboys, and who do you think they should go after? We'll start with Mikey, if you have any names or thoughts.
I don't have any names. I feel like that job is going to be very low on the list of most desirable jobs for a lot of head coaches. I feel like it's all Dion. I feel like Dion or bust for them because, I mean, the Cowboys love being the center of attention, and that'll definitely get them there. But I feel like they're not they have the highest paid quarterback in the league, who's probably like a borderline top 10 quarterback, and CeeDee Lamb, and then kind of nothing else on their offense, and then like a couple good players on their defense. So they're not in like a great spot.
Best kicker in the league, though.
Brandon Aubrey. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like head coaches aren't going to want to go and deal with that.
I couldn't disagree more. I mean, this is the Cowboys. The Cowboys are still a thing. This is Texas. Everyone loves, like, I don't know. The Cowboys are like the Yankees or like the Patriots were. For that older generation, everyone hates the Cowboys. Like we don't understand
Except
it. But
they don't win.
Yeah, well now they don't win. But the Cowboys are still like tons of people love the Cowboys. Someone's gonna get that job.
Yes, they're gonna have they're gonna interview all the people. They're gonna do everything. But at the end of the day, would you rather have an owner that keeps his head out of everything and like lets you do your job, or he's trying to be the GM and going on radio shows every other day? And
that's person to person. That's like coach to coach.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying about Dub was saying about Vrabel having like ownership problems in Tennessee. Like that sort of coach is definitely not going to work in Dallas. That's why I feel like Dion. There's been a lot of talk about him because,
bro, if Dion gets hired there, I'm actually gonna I don't know if I'm gonna watch the NFL anymore and unfollow all the NFL pages. You will see nothing except Dion and the Cowboys every single week. That's what the whole league will be about. It'll just turn into the Dion Cowboy show. I can't do that. I'm not putting that out there. I hope they hired Kellen Moore. Passed over a couple of times. He was their offensive coordinator a while ago.
True.
I think he's done good work with, I believe it's the Eagles at some point and the Chargers at some point as well. Hire him, offense, they need offense, a good mind because they don't refuse to pay players. Besides that, I just really don't want it to be Dion. I don't even know who else they've interviewed besides Kellen Moore and Dion, but I'm not here for Dion at all. Like,
What
I
pick
can't.
do they have in the draft? Like 10 or 12 or
Yeah,
something
probably
like that?
10 range. They ripped off a couple games at the end, so I don't know. People are already doing the dumb thing where they make like Shadur trades and they like get Shadur
Yeah.
and Travis Hunter somehow with trading Dak, who has $100 million cap hit. Like, that's not happening. But I'm just hoping that Dion is not the head coach of the Cowboys, but I think it's headed that way. But we'll see. I think people might want this job because it's the Dallas Cowboys. Like, they're a huge brand. So, I mean, you get a lot of exposure, even if you're good or bad. So we'll see. Continuing on with our last topic, every job remains open. So we don't really have any other hirings to discuss, but we do have a Jets fan on the pod. So, Michael, what are your thoughts on the Jets search so far? I think they've wrapped up an interview with Arthur Smith today. That's my personal prediction for them right now, but I don't really have like the tea leaves inside the organization, so I'm sure you've been following it more closely. So who do you want them to hire? Are you still on Rex, or what do you think is going to happen? Is it the same?
I think they are going to, or just interviewed Aaron Glenn too. That might be a after the season thing. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm still on a Rex type coach. Someone who's been there before, been a head coach before, more of like a CEO type head coach, and then hire some good offensive and defensive coordinators that do like the X's and O's stuff. I feel like I don't know. It seems like a lot of the people that I follow are talking about Aaron Glenn, like that's like the Jets are Aaron Glenn's top pick, and they like him a lot. So maybe it could be that, and like that'd be fine, I guess. He's a good defensive coordinator, but they've had a defensive-minded coach since 2007, I think, was the last time they had an offensive coach.
Isn't Adam Gase offense?
That doesn't count.
Okay.
Adam Gase doesn't count. Adam Gase led the worst team 2 years in a row. And I don't know. I'm still on Rex because I feel like that's maybe not the most likely, but I feel like in terms of it being the Jets, I feel like they'll go with Rex.
Is that like a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing, but it's definitely going to stir the pot with a lot of people.
Rex is already calling his shot on you texted us on Sunday Countdown or whatever the fuck show that is on ESPN that he's gonna beat Vrabel's ass or something.
Yeah, they were asking him about the hiring and he was like, "Yeah, I really hope I get to beat his ass twice a year."
Good luck with that. So before we could jump into the wild card recap, before we got on air, Rat, you had something to say about the quarterback of the Jets. Did you want to maybe float that out now? Because we're not gonna talk about the teams that are out anymore. So this will be an opportunity.
I don't know where you got that from. I mean, everyone knows Aaron Rodgers. I used to love Aaron Rodgers, but now he's just like washed and destroying the franchise. Anyways, that one clip where the kid calls into Stephen A. Smith and he's like, "What about Ron Baker?" And then Stephen A. goes, "We're talking about the NBA Finals right now. You bring up Ron Baker. I think you played for Wichita State." That's what this podcast is. We are 14 minutes in, and we've talked about the Patriots, the Jets, and the Cowboys, and we're in divisional round.
Ron Baker.
All right, we got to keep up with appearances here. We're to Patriots and Cowboys.
All of February to August. Talk about Mike Vrabel.
All right. Well, it just happened now, so it's fresh. That's what you got the fresh first thoughts. All right. At the request of my co-host here, let's dive right in. So, wild card recap. First game on the docket. The Texans, 3-point underdogs at home. Cam Lindbergh was on this. He took the Texans. He thought the Chargers would still win. But we have the Chargers with the win. Our Chargers lose. Texans win big. Kind of watched bits and pieces of this game. I was a little busy during it. So Mikey, do you want to jump us out here? What you thought about this game if you even watched? I don't know which games you watched, but if not,
I did watch a decent bit of this game. I think it was like defense led the way for both teams, but the Texans were able to get a few takeaways. I think Justin Herbert had 4 or 5 picks in this game, which was more than he had the entire year in the regular season. They got I think 2 defensive scores. Yeah, it's hard to win when you turn the ball over that much. I was expecting more out of the Chargers because I don't really know why. I guess coaching. But the Texans did this last year. They won in the wild card round, and then they're going to lose in the division round. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I watched parts of this game as well. I mean, I was rooting for the Chargers the whole time. It's kind of tough to watch. It wasn't as bad as the score is. They kind of pulled away at the end, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it was just like I feel like this game was just everyone forgot about the Texans. They were just like kind of a boring, good, like a decent team in the regular season.
Well, they were playing so bad at the end. That's why I think a lot of people were fading them.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the Christmas game where they lose 31-2 at home to the Ravens. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what this says for the Chargers moving forward. I mean, it's year 1 of Harbaugh. You make the playoffs, but then you lose like this. Like Staley lost in the first round of the playoffs too. Just putting that out there.
I wrote down next year, go all in on the Chargers. I think Harbaugh is like one of the best football coaches.
They need personnel on offense. Well, not even, but they have Ladd and Johnston, but like they gotta. I don't know what they need. What the answer is for them to. I think it's just like they had a bad Herbert game, and
I think that they definitely need offensive weapons.
Yeah. Well, Ladd is
the Chargers fans that I know think Quentin Johnston's like bottom tier receiver. Ladd's a dog, but
does anyone ever talk about how Justin Herbert's like not that good? He got so much hype.
So I was just gonna bring that up.
I've always been saying this is that Herbert's just like he's got an arm.
Gunslinger.
He's got an arm.
I think Justin Herbert's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Oh God, by golly.
Now it sounds egregious. It sounds like a crazy take. So automatically you have Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, and Josh Allen. That's 4. So who's your 5?
Do you want me to go through the list?
Yeah.
I think right now I'd take Tua with 3 less concussions over Herbert all day.
Just go to the dramatics.
I mean, that's not even a joke. Tua right now is close.
Jared Goff.
Nah.
Jared Goff's about that level. I'd probably take Jared Goff too.
I wouldn't, but teach their own. I mean, it's like you're taking Jalen Hurts.
I think Geno Smith has a better game that game. I think half the time Geno Smith has a better game. He's on the Chargers.
Jaden Daniels is an interesting name. That's really like the only one I'd consider is Jaden Daniels or Jared Goff. I'm not really.
Jalen Hurts.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
Dub, what reality are you living in? You wouldn't rather have Jalen Hurts than
Jalen Hurts sucks, dude. Did you watch him play?
I don't think he sucks, but I would probably take Herbert over him.
Oh, come on. What games are you guys watching? I've watched about 4 Chargers games that Justin Herbert's played.
Yeah,
what games are you guys watching?
Talent-wise, he's at least top 5.
He just has
maybe Jaden Daniels at some point, but I don't like.
What about Drake May?
Okay, now you're talking. No, I think Herbert's top 5. I think he's number 5. The only one I'll hear out right now, Jaden Daniels has a ways to go before he can be like considered in that conversation, in my opinion, just because it's his rookie year. We don't know what's gonna happen. Is Matt Stafford, and Matt Stafford's like 38. So that's my number 5 competition. But I got Herbert number 5. He had a bad game. Like I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch most of this game. I was busy, but sometimes you have bad games. I'm trying to think in my memory of people who had 4 interception games, but it's happened. I'm sure Eli Manning's had that. I think Justin
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. Okay, so anything else on this game?
No.
Just remind me to bet on the Chargers to do well.
Yeah, they're gonna do well next year. The problem is, I was gonna say the problem with them is the Chiefs is in the division, so it's like, what are we doing? I don't
Chiefs
know.
fall off next year.
I hope. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Pray on their
So,
down.
as always, the chat is with us tonight. First couple comments. First one is from Brandon Hallam. He says the AFC South has more wins this postseason than the NFC North and AFC West combined. Interesting. That's true.
So the two teams that have the number 1 seed buys.
Yeah, so far. I mean, he's got a point.
Yeah, exactly. the
We'll have to look back at this stat because, I mean, Cam, who's not here with us tonight, has said the AFC South is the worst division, but I feel like this is kind of just nitpicking stats after 1 week. But we'll see what happens. I mean, this could play out, but I doubt it. Big chance this week. You have the Texans.
Do you know who Brandon Hallam is?
I have no idea who that is. He says Deontay Johnson quit because he was pissed Derek Stingley had more receptions than him. That's back on the Ravens. I don't know what's up with Deontay Johnson. That's
Is he back on the Ravens again?
Yeah, he got claimed yesterday, but he can't play
hilarious.
until next season because of the way the waiver works or whatever.
Yeah, that's crazy. He's been on 4 teams in like 7 months.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that guy. He should never sign with the Panthers. I think that's where he went wrong. Anyways, we had another game on Saturday, AFC North. Ravens over the Steelers. Not sure what your opinions were on this game, Rat, but we were all pretty. Actually, Cam took the Steelers, but me and Mikey liked the Ravens a lot. 21-0 lead you jump out to, like it felt over just watching the game. Nothing really to take away. Like I think the big question after this game is what do the Steelers do at quarterback? Do they make a change at head coach? I think tells more about the Steelers, like what they need to do moving forward rather than the Ravens. I think the Ravens obviously did the best game of the week this weekend. But feel free to prove me wrong if there's anything you took away from this game. I mean, Derrick Henry did well as expected, but anything you saw from this game, Rat, potentially?
I watched 0 minutes of this game, but as far as the Steelers go, is it bad to say, like, this is Russ's first year as the Steelers. They were like plus 800 to make the playoffs before the season started. Everyone thought they were going to be asked. Is it wrong to say, like, just keep everyone and see if Russ gets better with his boys?
I think that's a decent idea. Yeah.
I think
it's also Russ though.
Yeah. They have no quarterbacks on their roster, so they'd have to re-sign him. And I don't know. If I was him, I might not take a 1-year deal with them, but I don't know.
But yeah, also the Ravens are a juggernaut. Like losing 28-14 to like the best team in the league is.
And TJ Watt was like definitely hurt during this game. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we all kind of said that they were going to walk over him. Derrick Henry looked electric like he always does. And I feel like you were saying their next game this week, they have the best game on the schedule. But for the Steelers this offseason, I've seen a lot about people might try and trade for Mike Tomlin, which is...
I don't see it, but...
I mean, the Broncos traded a first-round pick, I think, for Sean Payton.
Yeah, I mean, I think a trade is possible. I just don't think the Steelers are actually going to go through with that. Like, who are they?
Yeah, I don't either, but it's like a...
I know, it's been exercise. It's like about that last year, too.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is here. I don't... I mean, you have a great defense. It's like you don't really have offensive weapons outside of like Najee Harris, who can sometimes be good, and Pickens, who's just like a drama guy. So I don't know I think you need to reset that offense. I think maybe the Steelers should take like a second-round quarterback because this is kind of like a year where there's second-round quarterbacks. Maybe grab like a Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart, one of those guys, and then like let them develop. Maybe grab like a Kirk or I don't know who your guy is there, but maybe keep Russ. Like, I don't know. I thought Russ played decent this year. Kind of fell off at the end. Fields, I don't think is going to be an NFL quarterback moving forward, but starting NFL quarterback. But a lot of questions for the Steelers.
I guess see him going to like the Eagles or something.
Fields?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good fit. Like some package plays for him, especially Jalen Hurts might go down a lot. I mean, he runs a lot, so he might be more injury prone than usual quarterbacks. Okay, some more comments from the chat. Brandon's still with us. He says, if the Lions win a Super Bowl, do they have a pride parade? I'm not sure what this is in reference to, if anyone.
I don't know.
Rat.
Why would you say me for that? Why'd you?
I don't know. Well,
go
Mikey
to
didn't
me?
know. I don't know, so I'm just deferring to you if you don't have anything.
I don't know. I thought that. I think that Jared Goff's wife is beautiful.
True. We did discuss this in like week 3 of the pod.
Coming up. Yeah, no, I don't know where that's coming from. Maybe if this fan could elaborate.
Yeah, we'd love to hear more about this. I don't know what this is in reference to. Another comment. A Ravens fan known as the Gawk Flock. I've never heard that before.
Guy, dude, this podcast, one person watching it right now.
Yeah.
And that's you. Like, go get out of your bed and do a push-up.
Okay. So Sunday, we had 3 games on the Sunday slate.
I'm sorry.
First
I didn't
game-
mean to be rude. I want to spread positivity on here, but
Yeah, come on.
I'm trying to
Positive
run
energy.
up
It's
the space.
2025.
You could do a push-up though.
Yeah. Do a sit-up and a push-up.
He should.
Yeah.
Maybe a burpee. I don't know.
All 3. All right. Bills destroy the Broncos. So we all took the Broncos to cover 8.5. That seemed like a lot of points, but I mean, that first scripted drive from Bo was beautiful. You had the 40-yard touchdown to my man Troy Franklin, Oregon product. But then after that, it was just, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It actually didn't get bad until the second half. What was it? 10? Was it 10-7 at half?
Maybe it was like 13-7, 10-7.
I think the Broncos almost scored too before.
Yeah,
half.
there was.
Almost
Yeah,
or something.
they missed the field goal to tie. It might have been to tie it right at the end of the
Yeah, I
first
think
half. Yeah, and then it got bad. James Cook carrying, Josh Allen being the MVP probably. And I mean, it was. I guess we probably should have predicted that. I don't know. I feel like the rookie quarterback thing's weird because Jane Daniels had a good week, but I don't know. It's
Yeah.
weird for me.
Jaden Daniels looked really good. We'll get to that game in a second. But Bo, I mean, I thought Bo, like the throws Bo was making in the first couple of drives, like he looked decent. Like I don't know. I think maybe it's a rookie quarterback thing, like you mentioned. It's just wasn't meant to be in the stars. But
I feel like it's just like a different weight class.
yeah, I mean
thing.
the Broncos were kind of punching above their weight class. That was kind of always going to be the case, unless it was like the Bengals, who we all liked heading in. But I mean, I don't know what you take away from this game other than, I mean, we'll talk about their game next week, obviously the game of the week. But, yeah, I mean, Broncos, I like their trajectory. I think they're a team that needs offensive weapons as well. Like, name someone on that offense other than Cortland Sutton. Like, it's crazy.
Marvin Mims.
True. Troy Franklin.
Yeah.
So we have more comments in the chat. Greg Small is in the building. He says, Rat, no way. Let's fucking go. So why does Mikey low-key look like Sam Darnold? Hashtag Team Mikey. Rat, while you've been gone, Greg has fully supported Mikey. They've like it's been a weird relationship where they're like backing each other all the way. I don't know what's going on
Mikey
here.
played like ass last week. I don't know when this game's coming up. Holy hell.
Yeah, well that's
If you go
was
on
tough.
if you go on my brother's Instagram, about 5 years ago he posted a side by side of me and Sam Darnold.
Wow.
So it's a known thing here, Greg.
Yeah, we've been new. Brandon is still with us. New coach, pick a quarterback at number 2, sign Noah Brown to a 1-year guaranteed offensive rookie of the year and playoff win every time. I believe this is about the Commanders. We'll get to that game in a second.
Is this a Russian bot?
It's a Chinese bot now that TikTok is down. Where's Cam, by the way? He is gone. I don't know. He didn't give any excuse. I'm sure he'll be back in the next either week or two
He is gone.
to talk conference champions, to talk Super Bowl, one of those two. I don't know. He didn't really give an excuse. We had a plan to film tonight, but then he was gone. So luckily we have Rat here to join us. Why does Sam Darnold now play like Will Levis? We'll talk about this game in just a second. Sam Darnold's a handsome looker. I don't know what looker means. Okay.
He's
Mikey
a wealthy
says-
rich man.
Mikey agrees. Do you also have mono? Michael, your comment? No.
I think I shed a tear when Sam Darnold had mono, though.
Actually, you actually cried over that.
I might have. I don't know. I was like 13.
I'm sorry for your loss.
That was high school.
That was in college. Wasn't that in like freshman
No,
year?
that was high school.
Okay. And maybe confirmed Russian. Niet. I think that's a Russian
Yes.
thing.
Confirmed Russian.
Everyone is welcome here if you're Russian, Chinese, American. We don't discriminate. So next game, the 4:00 game, Eagles over the Packers. Michael was the only one in the house correct on this one. I believe me and Cambo took the Packers. Packers just couldn't really get it going at all. Like, I don't know if you guys watched this game, but
Turnovers.
yeah,
I watched
it was
this game.
just
It's turnovers.
it just wasn't a Jordan Love day. I'm still a believer in Jordan Love. I actually watched the progression of the game began, and my dad was like out on Jordan Love. He's like, this guy stinks. And then by the end of the game, he's like, this kid's good. He can make some throws. So, I mean, the Packers just seem kind of beat up in this game. Like, they have been able to run the football with Josh Jacobs and kind of bruised, but it's just felt like they were kind of outmatched and outclassed by the Eagles, their offensive line, their running game. Just kind of a bad draw. I mean, you're going to have to beat the Eagles eventually if you want to make it to where you want to be, but I'm not out on the Packers. I like the trajectory moving forward. Anything else you guys want to add?
Also, like 3 times a quarter, they just had a player go out.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
getting
Tucker
pumped.
Kraft had like 5 catches on the first drive, and then he got hurt. I think they also lost Jaden Reed and Wixman during this game. Or one of the
Yeah,
guys.
so they were down to like Jeff or Malik Heath and
Yeah.
what's that other kid? I think Dobbs went down. So
Emmanuel
they had,
Wilson.
I forget who it was. It was
Bo
either
Melton.
Dobbs or
But
Wilson.
anyways, I was watching this game, and the Packers like played them. The Eagles didn't do anything offensively in the first half. They got a field goal or like 2 field goals, and then they had that one at the very beginning where they got the ball, they get a touchdown handed to them. The Packers could have won this game so easily. If there were 2 different turnovers that happened, the Packers easily win this game. And I think that might be a good thing for the Eagles, because I think someone in that organization knows that they really played horribly last game.
Yeah, I mean, you had Jalen Hurts coming off the concussion, so there's your excuse if you want one. But it's like he did not play well. AJ Brown reading the book was so funny. I don't know if you guys saw that at the
I
end.
did see that.
That was hilarious.
Yeah,
I think
no,
the
he
author
didn't have a
commented
good
on
market. That
it.
was cap.
Yeah,
That
he
was
didn't-
cap. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I mean, it seemed like a good book, and like that's kind of a cool thing that some people probably do. But also, he just flipped to a random page, looked at it for a second, and then put it back down and started talking to someone.
He definitely had like a meeting with like the team, and there's like, all right, if you're upset about not getting targeted, what will you do? It's like, read this book, like calm down, and just like fuck this, like just reading it.
Read this book.
Yeah,
But he did seem very happy, and he played well. He's a great player, that guy.
Yes.
Patriot. There's been rumors since he has the Titans connection with AJ Brown
Oh.
and Mike Rabel.
Hmm.
Sorry to talk about teams that aren't in the playoffs anymore. Anything else in this
Okay.
game? Jordan Love.
Jordan Love,
believe-
he had
believe it or
to.
not
It
believe.
had to be an injury thing. I don't watch a lot of Jordan Love, but like there was times when it's like, dude, run for the first down, like
He got
5 different
hurt.
times.
Week 18.
I know,
forget-
but
Wasn't it an elbow thing though?
I forget what the injury was.
what's Jordan Love's salary? I guess
A
he's
lot.
pretty young.
He's like one of the
A
highest
lot.
paid. He's one of the highest paid now because he was one of the guys who got a new contract because he was drafted in 2020. I believe he might be top 3. I forget who's.
Right.
I forget the order of what's happened. I think Burrow might be the highest right now. Maybe someone can correct us in the chat.
Right. Okay, but so
mean,
much
this
money.
is-
If it's so much money to a football player, you run for a first down.
Isn't this like technically sophomore slump?
Yeah, I mean playing sophomore slump. Yeah, because
Yeah.
this was only a second year playing. So I'm in on Jordan Love. I think he's gonna be really good. Like I always say, we need good quarterbacks in this league. So I'm hoping he can keep it up. He's borderline top 10. Is that a crazy statement? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
No. Okay.
Talent
We'll
wise,
see.
I don't know.
I'm in on the Packers. I think the Vikings are going to be a lot worse next year, so it's really going to be like a Packers-Lions thing, but we'll talk about the Vikings in a second.
The Bears.
More comments in the chat. Talking about this game, the fumble was a gift. Packer player picked it back up first. I think I know what he's talking about. The scrum onto that, I think it was the opening kickoff, actually. It looked like the Packers did have that football. I don't know if you guys were watching the opening kickoff, but the kid fumbled it. I forget his name. He was complaining about the new kickoff format after the game. I forget his name. Whatever. Oh, Keyshawn Nixon, that's the guy. fumble. Looked like the Packers got it, but they were like, they just gave it to the Eagles. I mean, it's tough under those scrums because I think legit, like it's when there's a million players over the ball, they just don't know who has it. So it's really going to come down to who's like fighting. And it's like the Eagles have that grit. So you do have a point, but the Eagles did end up with the ball. So that's just fate. Greg says, honestly, since Cam is out, I have a lot less material. He doesn't know what to say. So Cam not being here has left Greg speechless.
That's incredible.
A random question from Jonathan Amador talking about a non-playoff team, JSN or DK, number 1 in Seattle. Let's go around the room quickly, give our answers, no explanation. Michael, go ahead. JSN or DK? JSN. Cam, or Rat. What'd you say?
Too many tabs up.
What?
What'd you say? You glitched out.
Me?
Yeah, give your answer. JSN or DK?
I'm a big. I'm really more of a Tyler Lockett guy, but he's getting up there in age. I'm gonna stay with DK. I think DK's great. He's had a tough year, but he's great.
I think JSN's taking over, but I think it depends on the next quarterback. Could go back to DK depending on if they want to throw bombs. Okay, last game on Sunday night. This was the killer for me. Bucks were my most confident pick. Your whole season comes down to a fumbled, botched handoff. Great game. This is obviously the best game of the weekend. Only one that was really close in any capacity, if we're being honest. I mean, the Chargers-Texans was close for a couple quarters, but I've been kind of doing the talking at the beginning, so I want to give you guys the floor here. This was a great game, Sunday Night Football. What were your immediate thoughts on this Commanders win over the Buccaneers? We can start with Rat.
I was in New York City this past weekend. Shout out Greg Small. I think he might live there.
He does.
And I got a 1% recovery on my Whoop, and I said, I'm sorry, I love Baker Mayfield, but I'm not going to watch this game. And then I didn't even get to see any clips later. I saw 23-20. It said Rats. I had him going to
Rats.
the Bucks going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I got it right there. It's Ravens over Bucks.
What does 1% on Whoop mean? You just didn't sleep well?
That's the lowest you can get. Like the only way you do it is if you sleep for under 6 hours and you also are drunk the entire time you're asleep. It's the only way you can get 1%.
Okay. So we'll cut to Mikey. Did you watch this game?
I'm pretty sure I watched a lot of this game. What was I doing on Sunday? Yeah, I did watch the end of this game actually. I kind of feel bad for the Bucks, but also it sort of makes me feel good for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders team. Like they're
I don't know. I don't really care about the Commanders that much.
Really? I think they're like a super
I could see why people like them, but
yeah, I think they're a likable team. Like I feel like it's an underdog story and people like underdog stories. But I guess I mean so is Baker and the Bucks. That's why I feel like it was a good game, because if you don't have a dog in that fight, like you can like both teams, like you know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah. I don't really have much to say.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a sad one. I like the Bucks. I like Mike Evans. I'm surprised no Lattimore or Evans, one of them didn't get thrown out of the game. I think the first play I watched was like Evans got a catch, and then he kind of like there's a little extra stuff going on there. But yeah, I mean, I think the Bucks are in a weird spot because Todd Bowles is a terrible coach, but they can't fire him if they keep making the playoffs. So he's kind of just a sitting duck. I mean, so is Bruce Arians when he was there, to be honest. They won a Super Bowl despite him. I don't know if Baker's going to bring you to a Super Bowl ever, which sucks, but also it's like he's probably top 10 in the league right now at least. So it's like it's just that kind of guy where he's not going to bring you to a Super Bowl, but he's also top 10. So if they paid him, like, I don't know what the future holds for the Bucks. I wanted to see them win this game, potentially head to Detroit or Philadelphia, see what could happen there, but I don't know. Like, it never really felt like that was in the cards for them to win that and head to the NFC Championship game. I think, I mean, with this Commanders team, PFT commenter posts a hype video every time they win. It's like, left hand up, we the Commanders. It's a hype video. Maybe I'll share it to you after, but that's the only thing that gives me happiness with the Commanders. I just don't really care about Jaden Daniels. I feel like it's going to be in like 5 years when we talk about Drake May versus Jaden Daniels, and maybe I'm just like being super positive right now, but I think he's going to be really good. People are saying he's going to be really good, but I don't know if that's like the same thing they were saying about CJ Stroud last year. We'll see what happens. Michael, you said he's in the top 5 for you this year, so.
I didn't say that. I was just throwing out names.
Just throwing names out.
Okay. I respect the name throw. Anything else in this game before we head to Monday night?
Sad, I love Baker.
I know. Me too.
I didn't realize how many like vets that they had on this team on the offense, like
The
Eckler
Bucks?
and Ertz.
Oh, the Commanders, yeah.
Yeah, that might have swayed my pick. No, it definitely wouldn't have. But yeah.
Okay, more comments are in the chat. I feel like Rat might be on shrooms. # can't tell. Big accusation to be thrown here on a Thursday night. Your response.
Tiny pupils.
Does that mean you are or aren't?
The world might never know.
Okay. Greg's reaction to learning that you were in New York City this weekend. Wait, what the fuck? Why didn't you tell me?
Oh, honestly,
He would have taken you for a fun time.
oh my goodness.
Dick.
Honestly, this is what happened, Greg. So I was going about my day, and I was like, the entire time I was there, I didn't think about you one single time because I talked to you one time 3 years ago, and that's the only way I know you. I'm sorry, I don't know how it happened, but just seeing your name, I remember that you existed, and I was like, oh yeah, Greg was in New York. Yeah.
Jonathan has a question. Who's going to make the mistake this year in the NFL draft by trading up for a QB this year? Might just get super close to the camera.
I want to see
Steelers.
what the profile picture looked like.
They have a long way to move up.
Well, it's like if you're moving up, it's a weird quarterback class.
Look at the
Moving up-
draft order.
I think I'll tell you what, I think the Chargers should trade up
Oh
for
my
QB.
god,
You're a hater.
that's crazy work.
And the Packers. I never had faith in Jordan Love.
My
either.
candidates are Steelers. I'm trying to think. Who else.
Jags? No.
No, Jags wouldn't. The thing is, I
Raiders?
feel like over the past couple of years, there's been not a lot of like hype around like teams that need a quarterback. Raiders are at like
Saints?
I think Saints might. That could be a good spot, but they have nothing like a.
Yeah,
they
they have
cap.
nothing to give.
Yeah. So
Greg, you know I love you, right? I love you, Greg. That was all just jokes.
I'm saying Steelers. Well, these comments are flooding. We got to move on. Any other quick teams that come to mind?
Seahawks, maybe?
I like
they're
that,
at
Seahawks.
18. They're at 18. So
They can move up. That's a decent. I don't know what their picks are. Okay, back and forth. Little pretext here. So Greg had Texas to win the national championship. Allie, of course, Ohio State fan. Greg, what happened? Rub it in here. I don't know. She has a comment for you, Rat. Government name. I don't know if you want me to show that, but
Yeah, that's fine. Edit that out.
All right.
Edit that out.
but I'll edit it out. Back and forth, nothing. You lost that bet to the Buckeyes. We're winning the fucking natty. Don't be like that. Rat, we are pals.
Of course we are pals. Allie,
Come
thank
on.
you for the Uber drive home. But Michigan did beat Ohio State this year and for the past 3
Oh
years.
boy. Steelers to the Jonathan question. So look at that same wavelength. I didn't even see that comment. Wait, what? You don't seriously think the Chargers should get a new QB?
Yeah, I do.
Now look at this. He's just showing love to everybody. Here we go.
Except for Dub.
The Glaze Fest continues. I think Seattle takes Dart in the second round. My bold prediction is I think Dart ends up in the first round, maybe even like in the 20s, maybe even in the teens. I think he's going to move up. Michigan, true natty champs.
Talking about Ron Baker.
Who's winning the natty? I don't give no fucks about Michigan. Okay. Last game we had was the Monday night game between the Rams and the Vikings. Rams win big.
Yeah, they do.
Michael, take your victory lap. You were on this. Cam, maybe he ditched because he made a huge statement, and I was listening to the podcast the other day. I was like, if the Vikings lose, bro, you're going to have egg on your face. So maybe he didn't want to face the music.
What was he saying?
He was like, this is the easiest pick ever. He's hated on the NFC North for some reason this whole season. So maybe when he comes back next week, or if he comes back next week, we can remind him to talk about this game. But take your victory lap, Michael. What did you see here that led to this success for the Rams? You have them in the NFC Championship game, correct?
I do. I haven't beaten the Lions though, so that's not the game that's happening. But yeah, I feel like it was more confidence in the Vikings not being the same thing that they were during the regular season during the playoffs, because we saw them in a playoff like atmosphere last week or 2 weeks ago now. And they sort of repeated exactly what they did 2 weeks ago. last week. So, and also like it was, I don't know. I have confidence in the Rams. I was saying last week because of their early season struggles, how injured they were during the early season, and then how they turned it on later in the season. And this is the same group that made it to and won the Super Bowl 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So I had confidence they're a vet team. Yeah, too bad for the Vikings, but
Mikey just hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, that was my entire notes, and I think it's a brilliant pick.
Thank you. I was the only one of the six of us, right?
I think Mark had Rams too.
Oh.
Maybe. Yeah, I know he did because we all took Chargers. Besides sex. All right. Anyways, we'll have a bracket update later. We all picked a bracket. We were joined by the esteemed estate in Florida of Mark, Tendy, and Texans Colin. Takeaways from this game. I mean, Jared Verse is a dog. Like the Rams, when they do have draft picks, hit a lot, which is like pretty absurd because they don't really draft in the first round even. But you have Puka, you have Cooper Kupp. Like they can make this a game. I don't want to lead too much into my next pick, but I think this Rams team is never one to be forgotten about. I think that's kind of known at this point. But the Vikings, I thought that was a weird way the spread kind of switched. I mean, the game's not in LA, and then they go from like 1 to basically a field goal favorite. I was about to bet the Vikings. I'm glad I did not on Monday night. I just left it alone. But this game didn't really seem close. Like Darnold just couldn't get anything going.
The sack, crazy.
Yeah, 9 sacks. So we have to ask the question: is Darnold a fraud? You look exactly like him. You feel a connection to him. What do you think his future is? Do you think he has a future in the league, or this is kind of a one-off?
I mean, he won 14 games this year. Like that's not a fluke. He had 2 bad games. You saw in those 2 games some of his like known flaws that he has. Like he's definitely not a perfect quarterback. But there's maybe one perfect quarterback in the NFL. And like that's fine. You don't have to be a perfect quarterback. I think that someone's going to sign him. I don't think it'll be with the Vikings because I feel like they'll move on to JJ. But yeah, I mean, you saw his flaws. Like he holds on to the ball sometimes. He gets a bit rattled sometimes. Seeing ghosts, but I think he'll sign somewhere, maybe a 1 year, maybe a 2 year with like a team option in the second year or something like that, like a prove it deal this offseason. But I think he'll be a starting quarterback next year in the league.
I agree with you. I think there's not a big crop. I mean, he's still pretty young. He's the same age as Josh Allen.
He's 25, right, or 26.
So they were drafted in what? 2018. So they're probably like
2018.
They're probably like about to turn 30, 20. Like
he was 20. He was 20 when he got drafted.
So he's like 27. He's still got time. I'm interested to see what happens. I personally don't think he's a Super Bowl quarterback, but I mean, what he did this year was very impressive. I mean, we can debate on it if that was the defense or whatever, but I'm interested to see where Sam Darnold heads in 2025, where he's
got to go somewhere with a coach. Basically.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
What's his name?
A football team is very good when they have a coach.
A good coach. What's his name? Is it Kevin McConnell, right?
Kevin O'Connell, yeah.
O'Connell, yeah. Mitch McConnell.
A former Patriot quarterback.
I mean, like is he going to win Coach of the Year?
I don't know. When did they vote?
I think it's right before the Super Bowl. But it's only regular season stuff.
Vegas had them as worst team in the league before the season started.
The Vikings?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think that might have been predicting JJ starting.
I
don't know.
All right.
Sorry, my one note for this game was Sam Darnold looked like Cam Newton on the Patriots. Every single throw was just at someone's feet or behind them. He had like no pocket aware, like it was bad. That's all I have to say. Cam Newton's Patriots. That's what it reminded me of.
Fair.
That team went 7-9, so I don't know. More comments from the chat. Have a lot to read here. Will Howard. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his game. The Ohio State quarterback could be a potential second rounder. I project him as more a third, fourth rounder. I don't think he really has that much talent, to be honest. But Kyle McCord, Syracuse quarterback, is a riser. Yes, I looked at a list, actually. He was like the 5th quarterback off the board. So I think he could be maybe 2nd, 3rd rounder. Maybe he goes in the 6th round or the 5th. I think he's going higher than that. Your brother talks match about OSU. People who know me know that's not true. I'm a supporter through and through.
Hold on, quick question. Was Ali named after Muhammad Ali?
I don't know. Maybe I'll have to run upstairs and ask. He's a hater for real. Mick Hater. I don't know what this comes from. I just keep it real. I'm a truth seeker / speaker. You calling me a hater? No, me.
Wow.
Here we go. The hate continues. I like you more than Colin. I don't know. I don't even know if I should read these conversations happening in the chat. Michael, this is a comment for you. Darnold going back to the Jets. Are you still on that train, or have you kind of backed off on that?
I think Allie's predicting this.
Yeah, no, but
Wait, did Rodgers say anything about next year?
He said he wants to stay if they hire a good coach for him, basically. So if it's like his boy, then he'll stay. But he's probably not gonna.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I love Sam Darnold as the Jets quarterback. Like, they never put any sort of team around him at all. And I think that's the sort of quarterback that they need to sign if Aaron Rodgers.
Probably sign autographs if you were walking around in a Jets jersey.
I probably could. Yeah. I could match that signature. But yeah, I mean, I'd love it.
Okay. She's heard that one a lot, so maybe it's something to keep an eye on.
Speak it into existence, Allie.
LFMAO, I'm sure. Not what sure that's in reference to. Allie's thinking Commanders coach. Dan Quinn will get coach of the year. Yeah, I think. Did the Vikings didn't make the playoffs last year, right? Or did they?
I think they did.
I think they barely missed it.
Yeah, I tend to think they missed it, but I like Dan Quinn as coach of the year as well. They had a good year coming back from the 2nd overall pick. Yo. All right, time for our divisional round. We have 4 games here, our last 8 teams remaining. First game on the docket, we have the reigning, defending, 2-time Super Bowl champion Chiefs, who haven't played a snap of football since Christmas. They welcome in the Houston Texans off a big win at home versus the Chargers last week. Vegas selects the Chiefs slot, giving them 8 points. We've kind of been on it all year that the Chiefs don't really win games by a blowout, and the Texans also like to keep it close. So we'll start with Mikey. What is your take for Texans Chiefs -8? You've said in the past never bet against the Chiefs. It's now playoffs, so it's now time to test that theory. Will you be taking the Texans in the 8 points, or do you like the Chiefs in this game?
Did they lose to them last year too?
No, the Texans lost to the Ravens last year.
I'm going to take the Texans here. I think it'll be a close game. I think the Chiefs will win. I was going to say exactly what Deb just said, that the Chiefs don't win by large margins and the Texans don't lose by large margins. But yeah, I think that's how this game goes. I think it's probably going to be pretty low scoring if I were to guess as well, like low 20s probably, maybe high teens. And yeah, I think Chiefs at home, it's sort of a lock, but I think it'll be a close game.
Rat, are you of that same sentiment?
I'm not. I actually pulled up the 2023-2024 NFL playoffs to see if the Vikings made it. They did not.
Yeah.
And in the divisional rounds, Dub is right. The Ravens played the Texans. They won 34-10. And when I think about this game, I think flashback to 9 years from now. Picture a divisional game. It's the Patriots with coming off the bye against maybe the Texans or the Titans or the Steelers or some middle of the road playoff team, and they just trounce them, never in doubt. 41-10, they beat the Chargers that one year. This is that game. Chiefs -8, it's easy for me.
Yep, I agree with you. Patriots. I agree with you, Rat. I think this is an easy Chiefs spot. I was listening to Pardon My Take today. They were talking about, or Booger McFarland was talking about how the Chiefs are going to want to show that they're not rusty. They're going to want to come up there by, be aggressive, go up early. I think the Chiefs run away with this one. I mean, even if it's low scoring, I think the Chiefs could win this game easily by 10 points. I don't know. We'll get into the Focus 5 later, but I don't know if you want to maybe I was thinking earlier in the week Texans first half spread, but I've kind of got off that idea. I think this is just going to be a Chiefs. all the way through. Like the Texans are going to look like they're in a different class. But it is the NFL. Anything could happen. I mean, I kind of thought my picks last week were pretty good and easy spots, but they were dog shit. But I have faith in the Chiefs. Like Rat said, they do remind me a little bit of the Patriots, especially now that they haven't had to play in 3 weeks. They're coming in healthy. They have to win 3 games, and that's it. And they're champions again. So I like the Chiefs to advance here. In Arrowhead, too, I don't think the Texans are going to come into that environment and be ready to play. It's the toughest environment, or at least top 2 or 3 environments, toughest to play in. So I'm taking Patty. I'm going with my gut. Never bet against Patty until I have to, which may come next week. But this week, I don't think CJ Stroud. I think what we thought about the Texans going into last week is going to happen this week, where last week kind of was just a reverse, like the classic NFL. The Texans are playing bad. They're going to win. And now this week, the Texans are going to look like dog shit like they've been playing before. Chiefs win.
This game's Saturday, right?
Yeah, this is the first game on Saturday, 4:30.
20 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Chiefs smoked remember last year it was really cold. The Chiefs just smoked the Dolphins.
Yeah, I bet that game too. Chiefs over the Dolphins. That was easy. Didn't actually play that, or they didn't have the home field advantage throughout the whole playoffs. To people liking Allie more than you, I don't even know what's going on here anymore. So let's move it on. Jonathan has a question. Who's the MVP? We have a couple of games to go before we get to this, but who's your guys' pick for MVP? I know, Rat, you're a Lamar guy.
Who do I think should win the MVP? That should be Lamar Jackson. Who do I think is the most valuable player? I think that is Joe Burrow. That's what I have to say.
Respect.
So who's going to win it? You think Joe Burrow's winning the?
No, they're going to get Josh Allen because I think most dynamic NFL player. He's an absolute maniac. How good he is.
I think that all the signs point to Josh Allen as the MVP, but the stats sort of are split, maybe slightly leaning to Lamar.
Yeah. The stats, if you actually look at the stats, the only stat that that Josh Allen has above Lamar's record. That's it. Everything else.
Smoked. They're both having incredible statistical seasons. But Lamar giving him his third before giving Josh one it's sort of like Embiid beating Jokic in the MVP 2 years ago. Like that's like the same exact thing.
Mikey stole the words out of my mouth. This award has become a narrative award. It's going to go to Josh Allen. Also, Josh Allen was like minus 300 at the end of the NFL season. So I think Vegas knows it's going to be Josh Allen. So that's my pick for MVP. Does he deserve it? That's a different debate. Lamar has better stats. I don't know. I think this has been a Josh
Lamar
year.
also has a better team.
It's true.
So it depends what you're like. It depends what you're like. I don't know.
Criteria.
What you're basing, your criteria on MVP is. Like, is it best player on best team, or is it most valuable player?
It's narrative, so it's Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Quick question outside the podcast. The Rat sighs as he sees. Does anyone have robots that clean your house / apartment? And if so, what is it and where do you get it? I don't have any. Mikey, do you have any?
Not a robot house.
Rat?
Oh, those are called Roombas.
There is also ones that are called D-bots.
So you go to your Google Chrome, maybe even a Microsoft Bing, and you type in Roomba or Mikey, whatever Mikey said. It is 2025. You can like type that in and say, just type in AI talk to me, and then
ask that to ChatGPT.
Pull up ChatGPT, pull up Copilot, something.
Which one was better? I'm going to address this now before it just came in.
ChatGPT talk to me.
I like ChatGPT.
The D-bot is it can mop too. So if you have hardwood.
D-bop. All right, keep that in your head, consumers out there. D-bop. They're listening. If they're listening to you now, then they're listening. Or they're listening when you're asking me about a vacuum cleaner in your house, and they're listening to you right now. So I don't think it really matters either way. I get so annoyed when people are like they're listening to us. Doesn't matter at all. Okay. Next game.
Personal property and freedoms.
Yeah, because we don't have any anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. Saturday night, Commanders at the Lions. Biggest spread on the board. Vegas thinks the Commanders will.
Yeah, I hate
be
the line check. I hate the line check you, Dub, but the Chiefs game's at -8.5, and the Lions game's also at -8.5.
Where are you seeing your
Well,
lines?
we have dubcast lines here.
Yeah, these could
Hate to
help
line
you.
check you, but I got a whole point extra over here.
Okay, well I'm looking at ESPN. So what are you looking at?
You're looking at ESPN,
Yeah. Who also has their own sports book?
right?
Yeah.
When's the last time you made a bet on ESPN bet?
What are you looking at? DraftKings?
FanDuel, the #1 sports book, probably in their ads.
Okay. Well, luckily for you, we
The
have.
whole point matters. The whole point matters.
Okay, well then you have a whole point to work with on whatever side you want to go with. So we'll start with you. Commanders at Lions -9.5. What do you like here?
This one's really tough here. And this
If it was 8.5,
it's 8.5. Well, it is 8.5. So the way I see this game is, I think back to the Bills-Lions game. I bet over 78.5 in that game. $5 to win 80, not a big deal. But I think back to that game, and the Lions were just getting trounced the whole time, and they just kept pushing and fighting back. And so this is kind of like a rest versus rust, these first two games. And if it is a rust thing, I think they start off slow. The Commanders take a lead, and then they claw and fight back, and then they win but don't cover. Other than that, like if they get the first touchdown, I think they demolish them. So I think you take Lions money line, which is at -510, so you just don't take it. But I think the Lions win this game. If they get out to an early lead, they smoke them. If they don't, then they'll just barely win. So I think a fun way to do this is to bet kind of like trends throughout the game.
Yeah.
Like a bet, like a first half blank, and then blank, and then the other version of that, and you parlay those. But give me the Lions -9.5. I mean, they're too much fun. They're too fast.
Michael,
Do they have injury? What's up with the David Montgomery?
He's off the injury report. He's playing this week.
Oh wow, yeah, Lions -8.5, 8.5 for the fans.
Okay.
I'm going to take.
So wait. Would you take the Lions at 9.5 too? Because that's what this spread is for the Dubcast.
I think rarely have teams won by 9. Actually, the last Lions game they won by 9. Now that I'm saying it, or no, they didn't. Their opponent had 9 points. I would take them either way.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Michael.
Take money line for the
I think that on my sheet I have written down that the Washington Commanders will cover, so I'll stay with that. I basically Cam said it. If Washington scores first, I think it'll be a close game, and I do have faith in them keeping up because they've shown throughout the year that they can make second half comebacks. They can score late to keep games close, that sort of thing. So even if it's a close game throughout, or they're losing by a touchdown and they get a score late to make it 7, I could see that happening. But yeah, I'm gonna take Washington.
I'm going with the Commanders. I mean, not the Commanders, the Lions. This game, like if it's going to 55, like the over/under is at 55.5. Rat, you can correct me. That's the last I checked. I think that favors the Lions because I trust the Lions offense more to just keep going down the field, and I trust the Lions defense to get some stops where they need to against the Jaden Daniels led offense. Now, people are hyping up Jaden Daniels last week, but this is going to be like a crazy back and forth game because you have both coaches going for it in every fourth down when they just don't even need to. But I think the Lions cover this. I think this line is telling a story. I mean, the Lions have been able to cover big spreads all year. Now they're enter the playoffs against another playoff like good team on the rise, Commanders. I think this is kind of like a burnout spot for Jaden. I think the Lions can just any way you imagine this game. If it's like a run game, the Lions with David Montgomery have fresh legs. Jameer is insane. I mean, I like the Lions. There is a spot I want to pick at later on for my Focus 5 for this game, which I think I found a little loophole, which I want to let people in on in the Dubcast. But for this spot right here, I'm going with the Lions, -9.5. Okay, so more comments from the chat. No, they're listening. I think we already talked about that one. D-Bop ?
Bot. T,
Bot.
not T.
Bots. Okay.
T-Bop.
AI listening. This ? AI is listening to everything, brother. It's 260 though.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, if I get a housekeeper, it'd be more expensive. I have a really good tip for you. Just clean your own fucking place. Like you have like 100 square feet. You have a hallway in your room. That's it. Like I've been in your
Bottle of
apartment.
Lysol wipes in a
Yeah,
vacuum.
Lysol wipes and a fucking what are those things you can
Vacuum.
the ones you can
Swiffer?
replace the pads? Yeah, Swiffer sweeper.
Look at that.
But this is something I'd have to train because then it would just commit robots. I don't even know what to say to that. Dan Campbell, sicko. Both of these coaches are sickos. They're gonna go for it on every fucking fourth down, which I didn't even know the Commanders did that until last week. Anyways, Sunday, we move to. I think I actually like the Sunday slate now because we have Monday holiday. I'm not working. I don't know if you guys are working, but now that like the Ravens game starting at 6, that game will probably end around 10. Have a couple hours more to maybe do something, whatever. Have more free time. That out of the way, we have the Rams heading to the Eagles. So Eagles -6.5. I'll kick this one off. I'm taking the Rams. It may be a little hard overhead, but I think this is too wide of a spread. And if this gets to 7, I think you tease this up to 7.5 no matter what happens. But I think you have the first game they played, the Eagles destroyed them. So the Rams are going to want to come back with a vengeance and play better this time. I think they can go toe for toe. Like Saquon, he looked okay in the first game, or in the first playoff game, but it wasn't the crazy Saquon that we've seen. Obviously, the Rams defense is more accelerated now. Like they've been playing at their top level. So I think the Rams cover this. I think if I had to pick who wins, I still think the Eagles pull this out, but I think it's a very close game where maybe they win on a game-winning kick. They win by a couple points. I got the Rams covering the 6.5. Rat, what say you on this one?
This is the hardest game for me. I mean, everything's telling me the Rams looked so good. The Eagles looked so bad. But the Eagles have a home game, and they got good players and a good team. And I'm going to take the Eagles -6.5 here. I don't know. It's tough. I really think that like the Eagles got away with one in that last game. I mean, they got some like weird turnovers, weird nonsense. I think they're going to step it up this game. But also, I don't know. My brain's a little bit confused on this one, but I'm taking the Eagles. The spread's too high. So give me them.
Yeah, I sort of agree with all that, but I'm going to take the Rams. I feel like the Eagles they've let me down all year when I bet against them because they just win by a lot all the time, cover spreads and everything. But I have the Rams going to the championship game in my bracket, so I got to stay with my bracket, and we're going to take the Rams for bracket's sake.
Respect. So that's the only reason why it's just your bracket.
I also think they're like a vet team, and vet teams win. And the Eagles, like they're.
I don't think the Rams are a team that's going to go out easy. Like maybe they lose by 7, and it's like, oh fuck, what we're doing here. But I really like them at 6.5. And I think this went up because I think it was 6, so 6.5. I don't know. Maybe they'll get.
I mean,
7.
The last 2 Eagles playoff games haven't looked good for them.
True. Rat, are you seeing 6.5 on the number 1 sports book in America?
I am.
Okay. Greg Small has a comment. It takes forever to clean. Bro, throwing
Yeah.
a podcast, it really doesn't. Like if you actually just work hard. But I know that's not really everyone's prerogative. So we get to the last game of the weekend, the grand game of them all. The 2 MVP candidates going head to head. Lamar versus Josh Allen. I believe this is Bills +1. I mean, this is going to be hopefully cinema. Like this will be the game that everyone will be talking about on Monday. Well, Tuesday when you go back into the office because Monday, well, no one in my office talks about football. But anyways, this will be the game everyone's talking about after this weekend. I think the Sunday games are much better than the Saturday games. I don't know why they did the scheduling like that. Maybe you put like the Command or the Lions and whatever. So basically what this comes down to me is pick your squad, pick your guy, Josh Allen versus Lamar. I'll kick this one to Mikey first because I have a feeling I know which way Rat will be going. So, Michael, Bills versus Ravens. I believe you have the Bills in the Super Bowl. Correct me if I'm
do.
wrong. Okay.
And I'm going to take the Bills in this game. I wouldn't bet on it because this could go either way. Really, it could go either way. And I think the Ravens have they're probably second Super Bowl favorites in the AFC and I think that it's probably like 51-49 or something betting wise for coming out of the AFC, or not coming out of the AFC because the Chiefs are there, but in betting on this game. And I don't know. I feel like the Bills, they're just like a team of destiny sort of thing. And I feel like the Ravens have a little bit of something off. Like they lose games, but they're not supposed to. And I don't know. Just feels right for the Bills this year for me.
Rat, do you share that same sentiment? My belief is that you don't, but go ahead.
I do share some of the sentiments. I liked when he said that the game could go either way. I agree with that. My line is at -1.5.
Okay.
I've said
For
-1.5.
who? The Ravens?
Yes.
Okay. Zay Flowers may not play again.
Huh. I don't think that's a big factor in this game. I don't know. I'm gonna take the Ravens here. My bet would be Ravens money line. My actual bet would be, we'll get to that later, but yeah, I gotta take the Ravens here. I think they're just a more complete team, and I think, yeah, it's in Buffalo, it's a home game, but I think the Ravens are just a more complete team, and I think it's always fun when a team beats another team, then the losing team has the MVP winner, and then they're all like, "But Lamar just beat him. What the heck?" You know, and that's something that Stephen A. Smith can talk about for.
The Bills are 9-0 at home this year.
Whoa.
Something.
Rat's emotion doesn't change. Just keeps rocking. So this whole season, I've had the thought of Ravens versus Lions for the Super Bowl, and I can't, like Mikey said, I can't stray from that. I mean, my bracket, I have the Ravens making the Super Bowl, so I'm sticking with that. I'm going with the Ravens here. I could, like, it could go either way. We've been over that. This is going to be the game of the week. Like, it's really going to come, it might come down to who has the ball last. I think I like the Ravens defensive unit a little bit better. I like the Ravens coach a lot better. And in spots, I like Lamar a little bit better than Josh Allen. I don't know if that's a crazy take because Josh makes some mistakes late in games, sometimes in the playoffs. I'm gonna take the Ravens. When you come down to comparing like every little aspect of all the teams, I think the Ravens just slightly outclass the Bills in everything except maybe even like receiver, because if Zay's not playing, then I don't know. But I mean, they still have Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman. It's tough. It's a tough choice. I don't even know if I'm going to bet it, but I probably will because it's NFL playoffs and you have to bet. So I'm on the Ravens -1. Basically pick them here. So that's my pick for this. So I think me and you agreed on everything, Rat. But Mikey, I don't know if you agreed on anything.
No.
Not at the Eagles game. Not the Eagles game.
Yeah.
Okay, so update from the chat. Mikey, I bought it. # Team Mikey.
Did he actually?
Very excited. He just spent $260 because Mikey on an NFL Dubcast was buy the Bop It or whatever the fuck it was called.
It's the D-Bot.
The D-Bot. Sorry. Very excited. Watch it not work. I hope
Right,
it doesn't
don't
work. You have to
blame me.
fucking manually clean your house. God
Yeah.
forbid. All right.
Same.
So we have the Focus 5 here. Our favorite 5 picks of the week. So on the week last week, we had a disgustingly bad week. Our winner in the trio was Cam, going 1-4. Me and Michael went 0-5.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was a brutal week for the boys, all around. So we need some winners this week. I have my Focus 5 prepared. You boys have your Focus 5 prepared.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll start with the guest, Rat. So infamously, you went 0-5 in your Focus 5 the first time you were on this podcast, but you took the Ravens money line against the Giants, so I counted it. So you're 1-5. So if you go 5-0, you can be positive for Focus 5. You can take the lead in the clubhouse for Focus 5. So give us your 5 favorite picks for this week.
Shout out Ravens over Giants. My Focus 5: Chiefs -8.5. Lions money line. Harrison Butker over 8.5 kicking points. I went deep into the research for that one. That is my absolute lock of the week. Ravens money line, and then this one I'm not super happy about, but Lamar touchdown. I mean, I think this is the playoffs. This is Lamar. He's gonna get gritty Buffalo style. Lamar touchdown. So Chiefs -8.5, Lions money line, Harrison Butker over 8.5 kicking points, Ravens money line, and Lamar touchdown.
Deep back.
You can't parlay it. I just looked. FanDuel's
It's
not
okay.
letting you
It's
parlay it.
okay.
Whatever.
Some picks in there. I mean, Lions money line. We'll see, but yeah, things happen. Okay.
I mean, this Focus 5 thing makes no sense. It's just pick whatever you want.
Yeah, it is, and I've been corrupted. Michael.
I would take Lions at Commanders over 24.5 too. Give me that.
No, that's you already made your Focus 5. Nice try. Michael,
Nice try.
coming off an 0-5 week last week, what are your picks to make the people some money this week?
Yeah, I kind of didn't.
It's sparse territory out there. I'm gonna I don't like the Lions money line pick because they're like -5 whatever, but I do respect the single picks because I have mostly single picks as well. So go ahead, Michael. Sorry for interrupting.
Do you do parlays as one pick?
Yeah. We'll need to overhaul the system in case you ever come back and just ridicule me again, but that's for next year. Go ahead, Michael. Sorry, we've been interrupting you. Give us your Focus.
Well, Mikey's 21 and 54, but if 3 of those are like plus 8,000, then I mean,
they are.
he's up. Exactly.
I'm up. I'm definitely up. Yeah, I've never picked a single pick in the Focus 5. All right.
That's a lie. You picked 2 to get a concussion.
Oh, true, and it didn't hit. So. All right, we're gonna go game by game. I have one parlay for each game, and then a every game pick parlay. So first game, we're gonna take the Chiefs money line and a Travis Kelce touchdown because playoffs, baby. And then we're gonna take Gibbs to score 2 touchdowns. I wrote this before I knew that Montgomery was playing.
I still like that. Like that's actually a good bet.
So we're good. We're just gonna keep it because, yeah. And Lions money line, which is probably like -500 something, but whatever. We're gonna take Kyron touchdown and LA money line, and then we're going to in the Baltimore game. We're gonna take a Derrick Henry touchdown, a James Cook touchdown, and a Josh Allen touchdown. And then we're going to do the last one is all money lines. We're going to take KC, Detroit, LA, and Buffalo.
Okay, LA on there. I like that. It's a decent little parlay. So for my Focus 5, I actually have a lot of similar picks than you, but I went a little bit less bold. So for the first game, I have a Kelce TD. That alone is +140. So my big expose point for the Commanders-Lions game, and people should get on this now, listen to the Dubcast. So the over-under for this game for the Lions is 55.5. Unless the Lions win this game like 42-7 or something like that, people on the Commanders need to score. So I'm taking Jaden Daniels to score a touchdown as a single pick, Brian Robinson to score touchdowns as a single pick, and then I'm also probably going to bet on Terry. I'm not including on my Focus 5, but the Commanders are going to score points in this game. All of their guys are plus on the touchdown scores. The Lions, it's absurd. Like Gibbs is like -400 or something. Amon-Ra's like -1 something as a wide receiver. It's absurd numbers. They think they're hedging a lot on the Lions winning this game by a lot, I think. So I think the Commanders will get in the end zone. It depends on who you take. If you take a lot of them, I think at least 1 or 2 of them is going to get in. My choices are Jaden Daniels on a running touchdown and Brian Robinson on a running touchdown. But I could see a world where like Terry gets in, maybe even a Zach Ertz, someone like that. So I'm saying to all my people out there, take your Commanders player to score a touchdown. That's my pro tip of the week. Last 2 picks. We're going to tease the Rams up to 7.5, like I mentioned, and take them with a Puka touchdown. A lot of praise for Puka this week, even though he didn't even score last week. So I think he gets in the end zone this week. Last play, one of the similar plays that Mikey had, excluding Josh Allen. So I've got James Cook and Derrick Henry to score a touchdown. Just them 2 scoring a touchdown, and you put them together, you see a plus sign. Like that is just feels like free money to me. So those are my Focus 5 for this week. So we have 2 more things to get to before we get to them.
Wait, hold on. This isn't divisible by 5. What's going on?
I don't know. We fucked up.
Are you
I need to know this record because how else would I know whether or not you're up 100 units or down?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
11 units. Yeah,
more comments from the chat. I feel like adopting a person to do work for you. The robot. We're still on the robot. Also, yes, I trust what Mikey has to say. One more Team Mikey for the road. Also, I value his opinions.
Thank you.
Also, what happens to the Dubcast during the offseason? Luckily for the chat, we don't only cover the NFL. We have multiple.
Survivor.
I'm posting.
How's Survivor going, Colin?
It's over. We're in between seasons right now. Thank you for
no,
asking.
Everything's over.
I know. Until this spring, dude, there's a lot of shows coming back. White Lotus is coming
Are you
back.
gonna cover the USFL or the UFL now?
No, I will not be covering that league. There's a lot of. This is a good question for me to plug everything. So, me and Greg might have a podcast in the work for White Lotus. What's that other show about the video game? The Last of Us season 2 coming back. There's one more. Oh, Daredevil. Mikey, I know you're a Daredevil guy. You saw that trailer the other day?
Yep.
Okay, so maybe we can cover that. I mean, I'm going to be, as soon as football ends, I'm going back in my show grind. Expect the usual movie reviews, all that. So I want more Mikey. We need live shows. So my thoughts on this are I want to pull in people on my shows that don't really do that well, which is all the sports stuff, because no one gives a fuck about some random podcast talking about the NBA or just sports in general. So maybe, Mikey, you can join us on an NBA podcast. I'm sure we'll see you. We can do an off-season podcast. Rat, you've been on podcasts before. These guys will be back. I always will have my friends on the Dubcast. Okay. So now we need to get to our bracket update. So as I mentioned before, we all made our brackets on the stream last week. Just a quick update on that. Want to get into some scoring clarifies. So every round will go up a point. So the second round now will count as 2 points. The first round counted as 1 point. So going off that, Mark was our leader in the clubhouse. Not sure if he's going to call in. He's running out of time to do so. If he is, he was at 5. Texans Colin out there in Florida, their roommate, nice 4 there. Only one who picked the Texans, his hometown team. Tendy also had 4. Michael also had 4. So we have 4 guys doing pretty well. Cam, 50%, only had 3 picks right. And the host of the Dubcast, me, I only had 2 picks right after the first week. But I think, I had the Vikings NFC championship game. Anyways, so now we'll leave. What'd you say? All my picks it's been pretty bad. I mean, the spreads I did well, but the Focus 5 went to shit. My UFC picks are really bad. So last thing we have is the national championship game on Monday night. I've been requested to cover this game. I know you guys don't really give a shit about college, but if you want to throw something out, throw it out now. We have Notre Dame +8 against Ohio State. Any takes on it, or do you want me to take the stage here?
What were your bets from last week? Did you hit your bet?
So the funny thing is, me and Tendy both took Notre Dame. We both took Notre Dame, so I won that. I know Cam was on Penn State, just to be like, I don't know why, but Mark was salty about Georgia losing, so he took Penn State as well. I was on Notre Dame. That helped me out a lot, and also I took Ohio State minus the points against Texas. Cam took Texas to be like in opposition against Ali and me, and just to be like that guy, but he lost money on it because he's always fading Ohio State for some reason. I'm not sure what Mark and Tendy took for those games. I think Tendy probably took Ohio State. I'm not sure what Mark took, but those are my picks for last week. Anything else from you guys before I make my pick for the national championship game? Rat looks like he's looking deeply into this game right now.
I was just gonna say my 3 least favorite teams in college football are number 1 Ohio State, number 2 Notre Dame, number 3 Alabama. And Alabama I don't even really hate that much anymore. I liked their quarterback last year. So I'm gonna root for the underdog in this game, Notre Dame. I'm a Michigan fan. But looking at the spread here, it kind of looks like the Ohio State are heavily favored.
Yep.
But as we know, they choke. I don't know. This is kind of fun, though. It's a fun thing. I mean, the first year of the thing, we have an 8 seed versus a 7 seed in our 12 seed thing. These are 2 teams that probably wouldn't be here. I mean, I guess Ohio State would probably be here either way, right?
Yeah, they will. I don't know. It gets complicated, but yeah.
So this is fun. I like the new 12 playoff things. I watched one of the games.
Both those games last week were pretty good. Before that, there was one good game. But Michael, do you have a pick? Your pick is Notre Dame, Rat?
Yeah, +8.5, sure. Money line. You give me money line +290.
Okay.
Put that in the Focus 5 for next week.
Michael, have you been tuning into college at all?
The one college football game that I watched this year was Texas A&M.
Okay, that was a solid game, I think.
It was a good game.
It was a good
Went
game.
to 8 overtimes, actually. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't watch any of either of these teams. Actually, that's not true. I watched a little bit of the Notre Dame game last week, and I realized that their quarterback is not good. So I'm going to
The
take Ohio
crying,
State.
the guy
And
who's
he
about to
cries.
who's about to
Yes,
cry, as
he
Mark
cries.
has been saying on the chat.
Yeah.
So
So
you're
I'm
going
going to
with
take Ohio State. Yeah.
okay. So one Ohio
Money
State,
line.
one Notre Dame. Leave it up to the pseudo Ohio State fan. I'm going with Ohio State. I think this spread is telling a lot. I mean, you only got 6 points against Texas. I'm going with Ohio State to cover. I think it's going to be a murder. Like college games aren't always good. I think Ohio State wins this game pretty handily, even if it's low scoring, like maybe like a 21-10, 21-13 type situation. Well, I guess that'd be a push and maybe even a loss on the number one FanDuel sportsbook in America. But that's any other thoughts before we wrap it up? We have a lot of comments
One
in the
last
chat.
thought. I want to bring it way back to the beginning of this podcast. Dub said a quote that reminded me of something that me and him like to go back and forth on sometimes. He said,
Oh boy.
my whatever from Oregon is good. He's going to be good. Dub's an Oregon fan, and the reason that he's an Oregon fan is because in 5th grade I was an Oregon fan, and then he decided that he wanted to steal that from me because I liked their colors. They had good colors, and that ducks are cool. And he stole that from me, and then he pretended like he didn't steal that from me and pretended like he was the OG Oregon fan, and then he stopped being friends with me for 3 years. We don't know why, but Oregon's could be a potential reason.
So basically 95% of what you just said was cap.
It's true. It's true.
I liked Oregon in like 6th grade because of the colors of my own independent. I don't even remember you liking Oregon at all. That's news to me right now. You're telling me on this podcast.
What's that called when you like purposefully delete a memory?
Repressed. I know what you're talking about. That's not. Maybe that is what happened. Maybe I didn't talk to my psychologist. But I was watching. I read for Oregon basketball in the 2013 NCAA tournament. I remember that they were a 12 seed or 11 seed, and they had a couple kids. They won a couple games. That was when I started rooting for Oregon. Then I was on Oregon basketball. I never really gave a shit about college football until a couple years ago. Joe Young, Dylan Brooks, Tyler Dorsey, Jordan Bell. Do I need to go on? Peyton Pritchard. Yeah. So those are my guys. Dylan Ennis, Chris Boucher. RIP got hurt in that Final Four. We should have won that year. But going to Syracuse, I've kind of dropped the Oregon shtick. Obviously, my sister now goes to Ohio State, so I'm on that bandwagon. Anyways, thanks for bringing that up. We now have a lot of chats to read. We need live shows. I think we should actually look to do live shows.
You should get into politics. Hey, what do you guys think about those fires?
No.
Really hot. We sure could use that.
Really hot.
No, I'm no politics on this channel, but I do like the idea of live shows.
We did talk about the election.
We did for like a second.
What are your thoughts? Do you believe that the election was stolen?
In what year? No,
2024.
I think it's been never stolen ever, and it's a fair and voting process, and it's the best it's going to be. He looks forward to the live dubcast all week. I was just thinking in my head, college basketball maybe, but we'll see. No. Okay. Rat says no.
Nope.
Allie was hyped about the college picks coming on. Greg may root for Ohio State. Jack Story will never pay for a drink ever again. Yes, Greg. Just because I'm worried about the ND fan who said he'd cut off his dick if ND wins this game. Did you guys hear about this story?
He would cut off his dick if they won the game.
Yeah, so he like made a bet. He's like, if Notre Dame wins a championship, I'm gonna come.
No, didn't they do that earlier? And then didn't they do that earlier in the year?
Yeah, he had to eat dog poop, and then he didn't eat it. Florida State, and they had a terrible year. So this guy was like, he posted again on Reddit. He was like, the Florida State guy fucked their season.
Same guy?
No. So what happened was week 1, the Florida State guy was like, if we lose this game, I'm going to eat dog poop. So he doesn't do it. That curses their season. They have their worst season in the past like 10 years. So he's like, this guy's like, I said if Notre Dame wins the championship, I'm going to cut my dick off, and not it fucked over the Florida State guy. I need to actually follow through on this if Notre Dame wins. So he's actually going to get like a surgery.
If Notre Dame wins, he could cut off his dick and just shoot them into a dynasty.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, he's going to hold by his truth. So Greg's rooting for that not to happen. Tendy took OSU in honor of his sister being my friend. Okay, let's go. Hashtag Team Mikey one more time for the chat. I agree, 41-10. Spread is 9.5, so 21-10 OSU would cover. Yep.
It's good.
Again,
good math, Greg.
What am I doing here? What have I done wrong this whole time? I'm being nice, reading the comments. I don't have to read these comments. You guys don't even want to. I know Rat doesn't want to see these comments. It's true. I remember I was there. McGann started the fire. McGann, thoughts on the Penn State showers? I think that's a good place to end the podcast. Anything you guys want to plug? Anything final thoughts before we head into conference championship week next week?
Dub, do you think that if I had a podcast and I called you randomly, you would come on my podcast?
I don't know. Probably not. If I'm being honest.
Well, I'm a big fan of the Dubcast. I always have been.
I appreciate
I've been busy
props for you
lately.
coming on tonight. Me and Michael appreciate you. I'm sure I can speak for him, but short notice. You're good with the company. Like if it's a UFC fighter needs like a sub out, they know they can call you, and you're going to come and fight and do what you can to help your friend and help the company. So I do.
Hey, I'm in love with the game. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot. If you bet $25 on correct score, Ravens 21, Bills 20, you will win $5,750.
Okay.
That's all I gotta say.
Michael, any final thoughts? I'm pressing the button.
Ravens 21, Bills 20. Vegas makes tons of money. You make tons of money.